After the 13th of March, Saturday morning, 14th of March, it's like you are in a world by yourself. The only people that you see and talk to, it's like they are the only ones with you in this entire planet. Everywhere there's trees, there's leaves, roofs gone, and there's bits and pieces of roofs flying everywhere. Power cables all on the road, no vehicle on the road. So it's like you are in a separate world by yourself at that time. There wasn't any radio, no TV. You couldn't just hear anything. Everywhere, this was just a total silence. There was only the noise of the wind, and you could hear people shouting and talking. But apart from that, it's a totally new environment. And the telecommunication infrastructure at that time, after the cyclone, on the 14th of March, it was 1%. And that means it's only the submarine cable and the fiber optic network that's underground in Port Vila. That's the only network that we have. Apart from that, everything is just down. There was quite a lot of a lot of challenges. One of which was, everybody wants to help, everybody wants to bring in some sort of assistance in some ways, but there's this regulatory things and bureaucratic process to get things across, relief supplies across, that they're causing bottlenecks. Like, for example, organizations like ITO or even APNIC. APNIC try to ship generators, and it takes about almost a month for the generators to arrive in Vanuatu. And that's because of all these bureaucratic processes. And some organizations, maybe they said the generators are not for helping human, but of course we need generators to keep the powers on the tower sites so that there's communication. So that's one. There's difficulties with transporting relief supplies as well. In countries like Vanuatu, where islands are spread across the ocean, it's really difficult to get relief supplies from communities within the villages. One community would be just 3 or 4 families. So to have an airport to support that community, it's just not impossible. So getting relief supplies to that community is very challenging. What we noticed on the 12th of March, when we were trying to organize ourselves, we find out that there was only 1 helicopter available in the entire Vanuatu. So that helicopter itself won't fly to all the communities. Yeah. So that's another challenge. The other challenge that we found out was international communities. Even though they come, everybody wants to support us and help us, but just between the international communities, they don't collaborate. So we found out that in some places, in some communities, there's 2 or 3 organizations that are doing the same thing. But in other communities, they also need that support, but there was anybody there. So if they can communicate, collaborate together, we could manage that properly, make a good coordination, then we can provide the support that everybody needs at the same time to everybody. Yes. If we can get all these organizations like the Red Cross or these organizations that deal with humanitarian aid, maybe they can come to realize that things like generators, you need them. Things like whatever that could help in restoring back telecommunication. I'm talking here just because I come from that field, that profession, so I'm really into that idea that if we can allow for other organizations who want to assist, but then they can assist in forms of supplying this sort of relief supplies, that would really be helpful, because we need the communication back online. People in the villages are so remote that they depend a lot on mobile phones. Now, if the telecommunication is not up, especially the mobile network, if it's not up, we don't even know what their needs are. That's one thing that if we could have it in place for the next disaster, and not just for Vanuatu, but could happen for other island countries that would face the same situation. The other thing is capacity building in terms of preparedness. It's very important. We've learned that information management for people who will be responding to disaster is one of the things that we lacked. So if organizations like APNIC or ISOC or any other organizations that are concerned about this preparedness for disasters, that's one of the areas that if we can provide that resources to train people in the island countries to be prepared to respond to disasters, that is very important.